In this movie, we'll take a look at simplifying and welding lines together. We've touched on this in a couple other movies, but we'll see directly how you can do that and work with some different shapes and tool sets inside of Anime Studio Pro. So I have a layer called Head, and what I want to do is draw some hair on it. We'll give this guy kind of a surfer dude mop top. So I'm going to come to the New Layers function, click on that and come to Vector. When it pops up, we can go ahead and immediately name this, and I'll name this Hair, just to keep it separated from the other. And let's start. The color in the style palette is still this kind of flesh tone. Let's give this guy, probably should have tanned him up if he's a surfer dude. Let's go with maybe some golden type of hair. That's pink. That won't cut it for us. Hey, it's comic book land. We can do whatever we want to here. No, not purple hair. That yellow's too bright. Let's make this easy on ourselves right here. We'll just go with a darker shade of... No, that's not it. So what I'll do is I'll pick something using the color picker. All right. I'm a happy camper now. I'm going to come over to the freehand tool, keyboard shortcut F, and just kind of draw a mop on top of this guy. Now, as I release the mouse, when I get to the end, get close and we see the red circle indicating that it's joining lines. I release and that pops in and we can tell that it has filled with the stroke color. If that stroke color is something I don't want, maybe I don't want it as black, I can go ahead and just come in here, click on the stroke color, and let's turn this to something that's maybe a little darker shade of the hair, and choose OK. If I click any of the selection tools in the upper left-hand corner, the transition points or transform points or the point select, when I click off this, we can see a little bit what's going on here. We see the lines. We can also see there are a ton of points here. Now, there is a couple things we can do in terms of simplifying. I've mentioned that the more points you have on an object when you animate it, the more data there is to keep track of. It can become a nuisance to control all those points. So, as a best method, the best thing to do is to eliminate as many points as possible. Now, Anime has a new tool, which is fantastic, called the Point Reduction tool. And that's over here on the left-hand palette, keyboard shortcut R. I'm going to go ahead and just click and follow the path around here and eliminate as many of those points as we can. When I release, we'll see we have a lot less points, but there may still be more points existing than I want. So I'm going to come back to the Transform Points tool. Click off the object here and say, between this point and the point on the end of the hair, I can lose a couple of these things. So what I'm going to do is simply highlight those and delete them. I can do that one at a time as I move around. We see things straightening out. There are more points in a couple other areas. And right here at the tip, this is kind of a funny looking little, I'm zooming in with the mouse here. We've got this kind of funny look going on. So I'm going to eliminate several of those points and look what happened. These are some behaviors I want you to see when you're working with it, and why Anime does that periodically. Well, it has to do with the points you select. I wish I could give you a specific, if you do this and this, this will happen. It doesn't always work that way. As long as this is activated like this, what I want to do is just go ahead and delete a couple other points, and we'll bring the color back in real quickly and easily in just a second. So again, fine-tuning this just a bit. Look at all the points up here, those dots. I can get rid of easily one on each side of where the line goes in to a point and then comes back out. So I'll delete those. Don't need this one right here. I am positive. And I'll leave the others where they are. Since we have this shape that's been void now of fill and stroke, all I have to do is come back in with my bucket tool and click anywhere inside, and that reestablishes that look right there. Now we get a really hard termination right here, so the program might have thought that we were eliminating something on the shape, and we're not really going to do that. So you see an area up here that is not empty either. Let me go ahead and click this one little item right there and delete that. Then I'm going to click this point and simply drag it out. So you can move any of these around, do some fine-tune adjustments like that until you get it just the way you want it. Now we're going to look at the welding function. We want several layers of hair, or at least I do in this case. We can draw and weld it to an object, but we can also draw objects and then weld it back to an already existing object. So let's do both. I'm going to go ahead and hold down the space bar and then click and drag. The first thing I'll do is say, let's go to our Add Point tool. I want some shocks of hair kind of coming out from the side, maybe one underneath. Well, we'll start by not actually clicking on any of these points. As I move this tool around, you'll see there is a red dot now. And then as I get near a point that already exists, it turns to blue or turquoise. This lets you know that you are overlapping or merging with an existing point. The red lets you know that you'll be creating a new one on that stroke. The easiest, most effective way to do this is to click and then come back to the shape, not start from the shape and go backwards the other direction. Let me go ahead and do that. I'll have some hair arcing maybe back this way, and we'll join it up with this point. So I'll click and drag. The red point occurs right there. Bam, that fills just a little bit. I'll start right here. Click and drag. The turquoise dot's there. It has completed the line, but it has not filled yet. So to do that, we would just come back to our bucket tool inside the specific shape and click, and then it fills in with the colors we have right here. If I want this little area to be darker, then I can go ahead and come back to my Shape Select tool, highlight this, and maybe darken this up so it looks like it's hair underneath the other hair, and choose OK. If I click off of this, then we can see we get a darker stroke in there. The other way to work with that is to go ahead and create a shape, and I'll leave those open. Come back to our point manipulation tool, and I can auto weld shapes like this into an existing object as well. Use the paint bucket tool, fill, and then fine tune and drag the points around. Very easy to work with simplifying and welding in Anime Studio Pro.